If you'd asked me a year ago what I wanted out of life, I'd have said peace. Just peace. We weren't looking for trouble. We were looking for a place where the loudest thing at night was the crickets, where you could see the stars, and where my sister could finally relax and be herself. She's always been the quiet one in the family, gentle, almost shy, but with this spark that lights up a room when she laughs. I remember our first morning here. We made pancakes, burnt them, actually, and my sister, she just laughed and said, "Guess we're real country folk now." We didn't have much, but we had each other, and that felt like enough. The property was outside the city limits, a little run down, but it was ours. We'd heard about HOAs, those homeowner associations that tell you what color to paint your mailbox and how high your grass can grow. But we figured, out here, we'd be free from all that. Just us, the land, and a little peace and quiet. And for a while, that's exactly what we got. My sister started a little garden. I fixed up the barn. My dad, well, he's the mayor, but out here, he was just Dad. He'd come by on weekends, roll up his sleeves, and pretend he knew what he was doing with a hammer. Laughs softly. He was terrible at it, but he tried. We felt safe. We felt invisible, in the best way. Like the world's problems couldn't find us here. But that's the thing about storms, they don't send warnings. It started small. A letter in the mailbox with the HOA's logo stamped on it. At first, we thought it was a mistake. Maybe they sent it to the wrong address. My sister actually laughed. What are they gonna do, fine us for having too many chickens? We joked about it. We laughed. We didn't know. Because sometimes, the things you don't see coming hit the hardest. I wish I could say we were prepared. I wish I could say we saw the signs. But the truth is, we didn't. We were just living our lives, minding our business, and trusting that the world was as simple as we hoped it would be. And then, one morning, everything changed. The HOA officers came to our door. And what happened next? Well, that's the reason I'm telling this story. It's the reason I can't sleep some nights, and it's the reason I believe that sometimes, you have to fight for the peace you want. This isn't just my story. It's my sister's. It's my family's. And maybe, in some ways, it's yours, too. The first letter was almost funny. Violation, unapproved garden structure. My sister had built a little trellis out of old broomsticks and twine. We joked about it at dinner. Dad said, "Watch out, she's a real criminal now," and we all laughed so hard my sister nearly spit out her sweet tea. But there was something off about the language. It wasn't a friendly reminder. It was a warning. The kind that makes your stomach twist, just a little. I remember the next morning, the neighbor, old Mr. Jenkins, waved me over the fence. He's lived here longer than anyone. He leaned in, lowered his voice, and said, "You watch out for that HOA. They don't like folks who don't fall in line." I laughed it off. What's the worst they can do, right? Turns out, a lot. An interview with neighbors. Neighbor 1, Mrs. Alvarez. They fined me for having a flag on my porch. A flag. Said it wasn't regulation size. Who even measures that? Neighbor 2, Mr. Jenkins, chuckling. I got a letter about my grass being too wild. I told them, it's a prairie, not a golf course. They didn't laugh. Neighbor 3, young mom. They scare people. Most folks just pay the fines to keep the peace. We started getting more letters. One about the color of our shutters. Another about the sound of our rooster. My sister said, maybe they're just lonely and want pen pals. But the letters kept coming. Each one a little harsher. Each one is a little more threatening. I called the HOA office. Figured I'd talk to a real person, sort it out. The woman on the phone sounded bored, like she'd heard it all before. Just comply, sir, or you'll face legal action. Legal action. Over a trellis and a rooster. We tried to reason with them, but every conversation ended in threats. Every letter was a little louder, a little meaner. Then, one afternoon, my sister came running in, pale as a ghost. "They're outside," she whispered. "They're taking pictures of the house." I looked out the window. 2 HOA officers, clipboards in hand, snapping photos like they were building a case for a crime scene. That's when I realized this wasn't just about rules. This was about control. Dad, the mayor, looking troubled. I've dealt with bureaucrats my whole life, but this was different. They weren't interested in solutions. They wanted obedience. "Sister," softly. I started feeling like a prisoner in my own home. I was afraid to go outside, afraid to make a mistake. I told her, "What are they gonna do, arrest you for gardening?" She didn't laugh. It got to the point where we were afraid to check the mailbox. Every envelope felt like a threat. Then came the day I'll never forget. They didn't knock. They didn't say hello. They just walked right up to my sister and started barking orders. "You're in violation. Show us your ID. Step away from the garden." My sister, bless her heart, tried to stay calm. She told them she lived here, that she hadn't done anything wrong. But they wouldn't listen. One of them grabbed her arm. The other started searching her pockets, her bag. She tried to pull away, but they wouldn't let go. And then, right there in broad daylight, they pulled up her skirt, looking for contraband they claimed was hidden. She screamed. I heard her from inside the house. I ran out, shouting, "What are you doing?" They turned on me, threatened to call the police if I interfered. My sister was shaking, crying, and humiliated. They didn't care. To them, she was just another powerless girl. "Sister," voice trembling. I felt so exposed. I kept thinking, why are they doing this? What did I do? I just wanted to disappear. "Dad," voice cracking. No father should ever have to see his child treated that way. I was furious. I was heartbroken. I wanted to protect her. I wanted to make it stop. But at that moment, I felt helpless. Our neighbors, some with cell phones, recording the scene. Others are yelling at the officers to stop. Someone calls 911. Neighbor, on phone. "Yes, I'm at address. The HOA is assaulting a young woman. Please send help." Another neighbor. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They just kept going, like they had the right. Word spread fast. Videos went up online. People started showing up at our gate, bringing food, flowers, and messages of support. But the damage was done. My sister was changed. We all were. They didn't know she was the mayor's daughter. To them, she was just a simple girl, someone they could push around. But they were about to learn that even the quietest voices can roar when pushed too far. My dad didn't cry when he saw the video. He didn't yell. He just closed his laptop, stood up, and said, "We're going to fix this." But I saw his eyes. They were different. Like someone had lit a fire inside him that wouldn't go out until justice was done. My family gathered around the kitchen table. My sister sits wrapped in a blanket, silent. My dad's paces, phone to his ear. That night, we didn't sleep. Dad called every contact he had, lawyers, cops, even an old friend who'd worked with the FBI. Mom made coffee so strong it could have powered a tractor. My sister, she just sat there, staring at her hands. Finally, Dad slammed his fist on the table and said, "We're not just fighting for us. We're fighting for everyone they've ever done this to." And just like that, the quiet family who wanted to disappear became the family who refused to back down. Dad. When I saw that video, I've spent my career believing in systems, in fairness. But that day, I wanted to burn their whole operation to the ground. Then rebuild it better. Mom banned him from making metaphors after that. Said he was over-caffeinated and underslept. Laughs, but she wasn't wrong. The sheriff's department sent Detective Martinez, a guy who'd coached my brother's Little League team. He took one look at the evidence and said, "This isn't just harassment. This is a conspiracy." Turns out, the HOA had been playing this game for years. Fines, threats, even forged documents to scare people into compliance. But they'd never picked a fight with a mayor's kid before. Detective Martinez, leather jacket, no-nonsense tone. We found violation notices dating back a decade. Fake signatures. Illegal liens on properties. One couple lost their home over a $50 fine they never actually owed. These guys were a well-oiled machine of intimidation. The deeper we dug, the uglier it got. They'd targeted elderly folks, single moms, anyone they thought wouldn't fight back. One woman paid $10,000 in fees because her bird feeder was too attractive to squirrels. But the piece that broke me? A file labeled complaints. Hundreds of them. All ignored. All buried. My sister's name was at the top. My sister's first therapy session. She sits stiffly on a couch, avoiding eye contact with the counselor. Through the window, sunlight filters in, but the room feels cold. My sister stopped gardening. Stopped laughing. Some days, she wouldn't even leave her room. But then, something shifted. Maybe it was the letters from strangers who'd seen the video. Maybe it was Dad working till 2 a.m. every night. Or maybe, she just got tired of being afraid. Sister, touching a sunflower. At first, I wanted to hide. But then I thought, why should I? They're the ones who should be ashamed. Not me. Group therapy session with other HOA victims. Elderly woman, tearing up. Your sister's bravery gave me the courage to speak up. We're not alone anymore. My sister is replanting her garden, laughing with neighbors, testifying at a town hall. She started small. A tomato plant here. A sunflower there. Then one day, she stood up in front of the city council and said, "This ends with us." That's when I knew we weren't just survivors anymore. We were a movement. We became amateur detectives. Mom cross-referenced violations with election years. Dad found ties between HOA leaders and local contractors. My sister? She memorized every law they'd broken. Laughs, we looked like characters from a bad crime show. But it worked. One night, Detective Martinez called. "We've got them," he said. "Meet me at the station tomorrow." I asked him, on a scale of 1 to 10, "How big is this?" He said, "Son, we're gonna need a bigger scale." That morning, I realized something: justice isn't a lightning bolt. It's a slow burn. And we were about to set the whole damn system on fire. The morning of the raid, the air was thick with something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. Dad was all business, but I could see his hands shaking. My sister squeezed my arm and whispered, "No turning back now." Detective Martinez gave us a nod. "Ready?" he asked. We were. More ready than we'd ever been. Law enforcement officers march into the HOA headquarters. The officers who harassed my sister are handcuffed, their faces a mix of shock and defiance. Detective Martinez. Today, we are charging members of the HOA with forgery, impersonation, sexual harassment, and conspiracy to intimidate. No one is above the law. Dad, firm, voice unwavering. This is not just about my daughter. This is about every family who has been bullied, threatened, or silenced. Today, this ends. In the courtroom, my family sits together in the front row. My sister is called to the stand. She stands, shoulders squared, voice steady but emotional. Sister, testifying. I was treated like a criminal for planting flowers. I was humiliated for being myself. I stand here not just for me, but for everyone who's ever felt powerless. This is what they sent us. Every week. Every month. We tried to reason, we tried to comply, but it was never enough. I'm here because my sister deserves better. We all do. Neighbors take the stand. Mrs. Alvarez, Mr. Jenkins, the young mom all share their stories. The judge listens, taking notes, his expression grave. The HOA's lawyers try to justify their actions, but the evidence is overwhelming. Video footage, forged documents, and dozens of witnesses paint a damning picture. Outside the courthouse, the community gathers. People hold signs, "Stop HOA abuse. Justice for all." Local businesses donate food and coffee. Children draw chalk hearts on the sidewalk. A neighbor, tears in her eyes. Neighbor. We were scared for so long. But seeing your family stand up made us believe we could, too. Anchor 1. In a stunning turn, the mayor's family has brought to light years of HOA corruption and abuse. The city is watching as justice unfolds. Anchor 2. The case has sparked a movement, with residents across the state demanding reform and accountability. The corrupt HOA officers are found guilty on all counts. For the first time, the powerful were held accountable. For the first time, my sister could breathe easy, knowing she'd been heard. Sister. I found my voice and I wasn't alone. Thank you for standing with me. Let's make sure this never happens again. After the verdict, it was like the world exhaled. Our house felt different, like someone had finally opened the windows and let the light in. My sister was the first to step outside that morning. She didn't say anything, just started planting. I watched her, and for the first time in months, I felt like maybe we could be a family again. The city made it official, every violation was wiped clean. The liens were lifted. Our property, our rights, were restored. Dad's still the mayor, but now more of a local legend helped oversee the restructuring of the HOA. The old board was gone, replaced by people who actually lived in the neighborhood, people who understood what community meant. A new HOA meeting in the community center. The room is packed. My sister sits at the front, a stack of proposals in her lap. Residents raise their hands, voices strong and clear. Resident 1. No more secret fines. If you have a problem, come talk to me face to face. Resident 2. Let's plant a community garden. For everyone. Resident 3, smiling at my sister. And let's make sure no one ever feels afraid in their own home again. During interviews with neighbors, now friends. The tone is lighter, and laughter comes more easily. Mrs. Alvarez. I never thought I'd see the day. This neighborhood feels like home again. Mr. Jenkins. Your family gave us our voices back. We're not scared anymore. Community events, a block party, children playing, a mural painted on the old HOA office wall with the words, Justice. Community. Hope. HOA reform advocate. What happened here is being talked about all over the state. This case set a precedent. HOAs are being audited, and new laws are being considered to protect homeowners from abuse. Legal expert. It's rare to see a community come together like this. Your family's courage inspired real change, not just here, but everywhere. People are watching. My family gathered around the dinner table, plates piled high, laughter echoing. My father raises a glass. Dad, smiling, misty-eyed. To my daughter, the bravest person I know. And to this family for never giving up. My sister, bashful but glowing, looks around at her family and neighbors. Sister. I used to think I was just a simple girl. But now I know I'm not alone. None of us are. We stood up not just for ourselves, but for everyone who'd ever been wronged. People we'd never met sent letters, emails, even homemade cookies. Survivors from other towns shared their stories. We realized we were part of something bigger, a movement, a promise that no one would ever have to fight alone again. At a town hall meeting, packed with residents from neighboring communities, my father speaks at the podium, flanked by my sister and local officials. Dad, this isn't just about one family, or one HOA. It's about what's right. It's about making sure the people who are supposed to protect us never become the ones we fear. Legal experts discuss new legislation inspired by my case. Activists share resources for other communities. Activist. If you're watching this and you're scared, know that you're not alone. Speak up. Reach out. Change is possible. My sister walked through the garden, children from the neighborhood running up to join her. She laughs, kneels down, and helps them plant seeds. Healing isn't quick. It isn't easy. But every day, we get a little closer. My sister found her voice. Our family found our strength. And our community found its heart. If you'd told me a year ago we'd go through all this, I wouldn't have believed you. But now, looking at my family, at my sister, I know we're exactly where we're meant to be. We fought for our home. We fought for each other. And we won. But the real victory? We learned that even the smallest voice can change the world if it's brave enough to speak. If you've made it this far with us, thank you. I used to believe stories like ours only happened in movies or on the news somewhere far away, to people you'd never meet. But the truth is, our story is not unique. Abuse of power can happen anywhere, to anyone. It hides behind uniforms, behind titles, behind rules that were meant to protect but end up hurting. For a long time, we thought we were alone. We thought if we kept our heads down, if we played by the rules, we'd be safe. But when the rules are used as weapons, silence is not safety, it's surrender. What happened to my sister, to our family, could happen to any family. And it has, in ways big and small, all across this country. But something incredible happens when people stand together. When one voice says, enough, and is joined by another, and another. We didn't set out to start a movement. We just wanted peace. But by standing up, by refusing to be silent, we found something bigger than ourselves. We found a community. We found hope. We found justice. I wish I could say the fight is over. But the truth is, there's always more work to do. Since our case, new laws are being written. HOAs across the state are under review. People are sharing their stories, demanding better. And our family? We're still here. Still standing. Still believing that change is possible. Since the verdict, 3 new state laws have been proposed to protect homeowners from HOA abuse. A statewide task force on HOA reform has been established. If you or someone you know is facing abuse from an HOA or other authority, visit resourcewebsite.org for support and legal resources. You are not alone. If you or someone you know is facing abuse from those in power, speak up. Tell your story. Reach out for help. Change begins with one voice, yours. Thank you for listening to us. Justice. Community. Hope. This is just the beginning.